All right, guys. Hey, what's going on? Hey, we're going to try to keep this as brief as possible. And today I want to chime in on the subject that has come up on social media recently, where people are saying that they're talking like they're concerned about Hi-Fi Rush and how they want the numbers to be a whole lot better. And the only way you can do that is to put the game on the PlayStation 5. Now, of course, we know that these people are BSing. This is probably those circle of people that I always say they don't really play games. They just get on Twitter and try to make money on Twitter. You know, that little beer money that Twitter will pay you if you get a lot of people talking about a particular subject or something like that. And the idea is just ridiculous. Now, let me be clear about something. I'm against exclusives entirely. I've said that before. I think that all games should be on all platforms. I think that God of War, Ratchet and Clank, all the PlayStation exclusives, all the Xbox exclusives, whatever. I don't think exclusive deals should be made. I think the day that a game comes out, a gamer, regardless of his platform, should have access to that game. Now, the funny thing is that these people who are saying that they want to see Hi-Fi Rush come to the PlayStation, if you said anything about putting even Ratchet and Clank on the Xbox, these people will cry like babies. They will be talking about this for months, literally, but the funny thing is that most of them didn't even play Ratchet and Clank. They talked about it on social media. They used it for a lot of ammunition during the console wars. But I was really shocked to find out that they never actually played the game. Now, I played the game. The game is absolutely incredible. It is a stunningly great game if you're into those types of games. Now, if you're not into those types of games, of course, it's a genre thing. You're not going to enjoy it. But if you play that sort of game, if you're into that sort of genre, I cannot recommend Ratchet and Clank enough. But even if you look at games like Returnal, now I haven't been able to lock down the exact cost of Returnal, but I do know that Housemarque originally intended Returnal to be their most ambitious game thus far, prior to Sony jumping in and purchasing them. So they were going to get away from some of the older style games they were making because they thought people would get tired of that, and they were going to go to making games like Returnal. There's a rumor, and I call it a rumor because I haven't seen it actually on any charts or any type of data. Returnal was a AA game. A AA game, which, I didn't doubt it, but because I know that a AA game isn't rated by, it's not rated by how it looks or anything like that. It's rated by how much it costs to develop it. Like, for example, if you look at Ratchet and Clank, some people might think Ratchet and Clank is a AA game, or they could easily confuse it for an indie game, but it costs millions of dollars to develop Ratchet and Clank. So by definition, it would not qualify. It wouldn't even come close to qualifying as a AA game. Now, what happened with Returnal is PlayStation jumped in, and according to the devs at Housemarque, they jumped in and put money into it to bring modern day effects to the game. Now imagine that bumped the budget up a few $1 million. Now, I'm not going to get into how many million because, like I said, I haven't been able to pull it up, but that game probably cost a few $1 million to develop. But like I said, it's not the cost of the game that matters. In fact, what really matters is the expectations. Now, you don't need to be a genius to know that PlayStation's whole strategy is about how many pieces of hardware they have out there. Their goal is for the number of game units sold to at least be somewhat representative of the number of PlayStations that are out there, especially when you have obligated to yourself to contracts that will cost the company a lot of money. Now, even what profit is made on many of these games, it's difficult to believe it's what PlayStation is expecting to make when you look at games like Returnal. Returnal sold somewhere around 500,000. Not going to get into the exact amount. I think by now, with the game being out, as long as it's been out, of course, it's made more money because it's been on sale on Steam, and it's rated very well on Steam. I think at first they had a rough patch because it wasn't optimized very well. In fact, I think it is still said that you need quite a beast of a machine to run it even today. The money that's being made off of these types of games, because Returnal did make money. It just didn't make what Sony expected it to make. Not even close. Okay. So when we look at this money that's being made, it's big money to us, but it's not big money to a company, especially when you're trying to meet these very high cost contractual agreements. Look, in PlayStation's defense, when they made these obligatory commitments, the gaming industry looked a lot different. Today, the industry is aggressively turning it into one in which consoles is becoming more and more meaningless. And I'm not saying that they're not going to be around. If you love your console, don't worry. I'm not saying that they're not going to be around. They're just going to become just one of many ways that gamers access their games. Because it used to be, it was just the PC and consoles. Now, consoles is going to be because when you look at the number of people, for example, Xbox, the number of people accessing Game Pass and things like that on Xbox, they're not going to just throw that player base away. Of course, that's very well worth continuing to make the Xbox. But Xbox's whole thing is not just about the Xbox. Whereas with PlayStation, it's all about the PlayStation. Now they're trying to wise up now, but like it indicated in the leaks, even they admitted that they are far behind. And they have that, forget what the terminology was, they said Xbox is going to hop over them. Not they might, but they said that they will hop over them because they're so behind. It's going to take a while for them to catch up. And PlayStation has found a lot of success on PC. Like I said, even Returnal was being hit with a lot of complaints about how the game simply wasn't running well unless you had an extremely powerful PC. Ratchet & Clank lost money and it did not do well in sales even when it came to the PC. You know, the way PC gamers look at it is like this. They've already waited for a year. It used to be 2 years. So the way they look at it is, why not wait a few more months for the game to go on sale? Because the game will actually go on sale on Steam before it will actually go on sale on the PlayStation Store. We recently had the story to come out. We were talking about how Sony strategized the sales of their games in a way where they control the price. They basically had a monopoly on their own games. And that's how they kept the price of them up very high. And you could kind of tell that they were trying to even do that on PC, but they were bending the knee a little bit on PC because I think they knew they were dealing with a different player base with an entirely different, mentality when it comes to the way they purchase games. Now, Xbox has revenue coming from so many sources. They can afford to break even and even take a few losses on games. It is the PlayStation that probably needs to consider putting their games in more places day and date, and I think that will be coming very soon. So no, as long as exclusives are a thing, Xbox exclusives will be more than fine without the PlayStation's fickle player base. And I say fickle because of this. I don't mean it really as an insult, because when they were talking about Call of Duty and how important it is to the PlayStation, we now know they weren't joking. We now know that Jim Ryan was telling the truth. Most people who buy a PlayStation 5, they play Call of Duty. They play FIFA. They play Madden. They play a lot of sports games. And you also have the people who play the PlayStation exclusives like The Last of Us. God of War is really kind of a beast of its own because it also taps into more of the mainstream. A lot of those people who play the Madden, the FIFA, the sports games, the boxing, the baseballs, etc., they also play, a certain number of them also play God of War. So God of War sort of crosses lines. But when you're looking at games like Ratchet & Clank, Returnal, and things like that, a lot of these people probably don't even know those games exist. I took Returnal, for example, and I went to work one day, and my job, it enables me to get out. I'm in the field, and I talk to a lot of people in a lot of different locations. And over the years, I have gotten to know some of the people in those places who play video games. And I mentioned Returnal to them. The ones who don't really keep up with gaming media, I noticed that the vast majority of them had never even heard of Returnal. So the people who play those kind of games, that's another group of people within the PlayStation fan base that play particular types of games. Just like those people in the majority buy the PlayStation to play Madden, Fight Night, I think it's still called Fight Night, the baseball games, the basketball games, the FIFA. Now, here's the funny thing. I don't think that any of those groups are the people who go on to social media fueling the console war. I'm a believer, and this is my opinion based on things that I've read, some of these people, these console warriors have said. Many times they put their foot in their mouth. I'm a believer that these people don't really even play games. They're just trying to make money off of the console war. Some kind of way they got caught up in it, and they making a little pocket change. For them, it's easy, especially if they get a name on social media. They just put a tweet out there, say the craziest thing possible, and the next thing you know, they're making money. A lot of people say, hey, well, they don't pay that much money. Look, I'm not getting into how much, whether they pay that much, but you got to consider, even if it's just pocket change, it's worth it to them. Let's say you're a Joe Blow, but you're familiar with the console war. You go to work every day, you punch the clock. Before you go to work, you just shoot out a tweet. You got a big following on Twitter, and whatever money they pay you, hey, that's just extra cash. You playing with house money. All you did was type a few characters and tweet it, and boom, there you go. You making a little money. So, because I've had some people tell me, yeah, nobody would go through all of that just to be able to, these guys really have to play games. They probably really love games or whatever. They're just silly. I don't think so. I'm not going to say all of them don't play games, but I think I think that most of them just don't even play games. Because I find that when I'm out here talking to people, like even people who like things like The Last of Us, like the average gamer, you can just kind of sense they're not really into the whole console war thing. So, but anyway, that's my theory on that. And it's just a theory, I admit that. The whole idea that Xbox needs the PlayStation fan base to save its exclusives is ridiculous. In fact, it's PlayStation who really needs to think about putting their games in more places. And that day is actually coming. They're actually going to end up doing that. And that was something that was actually leaked in the documents as well. So yeah, that's coming. I think soon we're going to see games released day and date on the PC. I think at first they'll probably might sell it like a month later or something like that. But I think that's coming, and that will be a good move for them. Hi-Fi Rush, honestly, if you look at the types of games PlayStation owners don't buy, like Ratchet and Clank, again, an absolute stunningly awesome game. I don't think Hi-Fi Rush would have did that well on the PlayStation. I got to be honest with you. Now, if they would have put it on the PlayStation today, it would all of a sudden be back in the media, but not because they would be playing it. It would be because they would be on social media antagonizing Xbox fans about the fact that one of their beloved exclusives is now on the PlayStation. And not just like they talked about Ratchet and Clank all the time and never played it, they would talk about Hi-Fi Rush the same way. They would talk about it for months, probably for about a year. And all that time, most of the people talking about it never would have purchased it. It wouldn't be in their library. And they couldn't tell you the first thing about it. Now, they probably would get on social media pretending like they played it, saying, oh, Hi-Fi Rush is such a beautiful game. I can't believe the Xbox didn't put it on the PlayStation sooner. It's finally getting the love it deserves. So, yeah, so that's all I wanted to say, guys. I mean, this whole thing's a bit silly, but like I said, I'm looking forward to the day when no exclusives exist. I don't think that's ever going to come, but yeah, I agree with you in that sense that, yeah, exclusives aren't good, and people should be able to play any game, anytime, anywhere, as soon as it's released in any way that they want to play it. So I totally agree with you. Hey, look, guys, if you like the video, please like the video, respectfully chime in the comment section. As long as you stay respectful, you're cool. Also, I'm going to ask for something I don't normally ask for, because I'm looking at the charts here. Most of my videos are being viewed by people who aren't even subscribers yet. Now, I appreciate YouTube showing my videos to people who aren't subscribed, but I thought I thought one of the advantages of getting subscribers is that when you make a video, it at least goes out to them. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you to do something else. One, if you're already a subscriber, man, click that bell so you'll be alerted when I make a video. And if you're someone who's new and you subscribe, still click that bell, because my videos, according to the data I'm looking at, is not getting out to current subscribers. But anyway, guys, until next time, have a very safe holiday. Drink a lot, but do it at home and stay safe.